the slogan of OffKai Expo is where online friends meet. And it's like a family, I wouldn't say it's like family reunion, but it's definitely one of those things where it's like, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in a year. It's what's up? Hope you're doing well. Seeing them, whether they're on stream or whether they're in your chat or community or whatnot. It's always going to be the people that I always come back to.
Welcome to Uploaded, where I, Angela, chat with VTubers about what they've uploaded. We are talking about OffKai today with Karina BBQ. OffKai is one of the biggest conventions for VTubers out there. Karina did not just attend OffKai, but is also one of the arrangers for OffKai's choir. They stream classic video games on Twitch like Animal Crossing, Yakuza, and Kingdom Hearts. You can find their weekly schedule on Blue Sky. Let's go say hi. So I know you actually already did a recap of your own experience at OffKai, and I do want to talk about that a little bit. But the first thing I want to talk about is you are an arranger for Off Choir. How does one become an arranger in the first place?
For me personally, I was just out of passion and just volunteering and definitely helping out Evie, the Off Choir director. She is just one person. I was like, you know what? After, Gen 2, that was the first year. I wanted to help out in any way, shape, or form I can. So it came to me through arranging, me like, hey, I have a music degree, granted a music degree in music education, and I am more than willing to help out. That's kind of just how I started, but really it's anybody can give it a try. Like, I think these past 2 off choirs, we've had more people give the whole arranging thing a try. And I think that's super cool just to see what they've come up with. Obviously, it's it's a little bit of I don't want to say a tedious task, but it's scary. It's a little scary if you've never arranged before. But honestly, it's the work that people have been putting out. It's fantastic. And, I'm sure they feel very, very proud of themselves, myself included, especially, given that this is my, third year, arranging. So.
Are there any rules? Because it's, there's obviously sopranos, altos, tenors, bass. How do you know what to give to what choir member?
Oh, you mean as like who to give the melody and who to give the harmony? Is that what you're...
Kinda. I mean, there's a stereotype that like sopranos get the melodies, the altos get one note, and then the bass obviously does the bass, and the tenor's kind of just there. But I assume, you guys want to make sure everyone's having the full choir experience and singing songs that they want to sing. So are there any ways that you flush out who gets the melody and who gets like more interesting parts of the choir?
That's a very, very good question. I think it's just kind of a spur of the moment things like, oh, I'll just give this melody to the tenors. And I'll just give this thing to the sopranos and altos. And then this year we had a very unique circumstance of we combined the soprano and alto section, so we called them the saltos, and then we added the a baritone section. So we have the higher voices, sopranos, altos combined in one, and then you had the tenors, then you had the baritones who kind of sit kind of in the middle between basses and tenors. So it's kind of like this happy little medium. And then we had the basses. We've surprisingly had more of the higher end voices than we've had the lower range of voices. This was like kind of unique situation that we came upon. And to answer your question, like I said earlier, it's really just kind of a spur thing. I remember what we've done previously is we've counted the numbers of each voice part for the choir. And we've kind of shifted that around accordingly, making sure that are they going to be heard? So it really depends per arranger. I'll give you an example. I believe it was Off Choir. It was last year's Off Choir. I had the pleasure of arranging Kobo's song Help featuring Natori. And the one thing I did was I gave the melody, which is Kobo's part, to the altos. It's the first thing that starts off in the chorus. And then when they add Natori, I gave it to the tenors, and then it's kind of just a build up. And then for the basses, I gave them this really cool bass line, which is you'll hear it in the music. And I think that was just like the coolest thing, just to see that, just to hear that just come to life amongst a few like a good number of bass voices. So I'm like, oh yes, this is so good.
How do you guys choose what pieces to do each year? Because I talked with Evie, and I know there's not really a theme or anything like that. So is it like, do you guys do polls, or how do you decide?
We usually, what we've done in the past is we've taken suggestions. I believe OffKai Expo would put out like a thing like, hey, what songs you want to hear OffKai choir sing? That would be kind of the thing. This upcoming Gen, for the 5th year of OffKai, which would be Gen 6 for the OffKai, we're going to be doing greatest hits. So that's going to be songs we've sung previously and songs within any time range. And that's another thing too we've considered, as well as whether or not it's within like the year. You know, you have songs like Music Box of Fate that came out about a year ago. So it's something fairly recent. Yeah, that's, I think that's the best way I can describe it to use. It has to be within like a year. We've gotten, now that I'm like thinking about it, we've always cared about, you know, the distribution of, you know, which agencies or corporations or indie VTubers as well. So that's something that goes into consideration as well. We've had a larger number of, you know, Hololive come up. I think nowadays we've tried to kind of branch out a little bit, start going into like indies, a little bit more like smaller agencies, not quite as big as Hololive or Niji Sanji's, or even like Phase Connect. So
yeah, I mean, I saw the live stream this year, and it's kind of crazy what you guys do. I was also listening to your stream a little bit earlier today, and the amount of work you have to do, how you were printing all these pages at your office before the show and everything, and seeing just like it's legitimately a concert. Like the amount of people in the room, the amount of glow sticks and chanting and everything, it's intense.
Oh yeah, Evie has stated this really well in, I guess, one of the rehearsals, is that this is not a traditional choir. It's a different beast in of itself. One thing I've definitely had to get used to was the crowd. Oh my God. It's refreshing as someone who's so used to the classical music scene. It's amazing. So if you are part of that kind of scene of, you know, classical music, you're very used to, you know, polite golf claps
right
in between pieces. No, this is OffKai Live is a very, very different beast. One thing I've definitely learned is that if you are singing someone's, maybe a grand majority of the crowd's, like, you know, favorite VTuber song, I'll give an example: Music Box of Fate and Ash Again by Gargura. The roars of the crowd are going to be much louder than you're singing. So you definitely have to project, but also listen along to the music. And that tends to be a little difficult in comparison to the classical setting. So that's one thing I've learned. But it's honestly, like I said, it's very refreshing from the classical scene. It's so, you feed off that energy. You feed off the energy from the crowd. It's awesome. It's like you hear them cheer for the song that you, or either you or somebody else has worked on, and it's like it's so rewarding, and it's amazing that I get to be a part of something like this, especially if the crowd's reaction is going to be as great as the one from OffKai Live.
Right. Right. Oh, yeah. Honestly, when I saw it, I was like, whoa, I wish I was there because it's just the energies were like through the roof for sure.
Mm-hmm.
How many years have you been going to OffKai? Because you said you were pretty much with Off Choir from the start then, right?
Yes, that is correct. So I started going in Gen 2. So that was in 2023. I was finishing up my master's in teaching. I was student teaching as well. And for me, it's just been really nice to be kind of a part of something musical aside from what I was doing at the time. I got a little burnt out from student teaching and I had a little bit of kind of imposter syndrome just being up, standing in front of a bunch of students. And so coming to something like OffKai was definitely just kind of like, I'm free from this. I get to enjoy myself and I get to make music in my own terms to some degree. So it's fun. It's genuinely fun to just kind of be able to break, not necessarily break free, but just kind of, it's like, okay, this is done. Now I get to be part of this fun thing. So I that's that's my
no. I get that because it's one of those things where you have a hobby that you love, but then work kind of sucks the joy out of it a little bit. So having this other like way of expressing it really helps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can I ask, since I know music ed teachers basically kind of have to learn every instrument out there, do you have a primary instrument? Is it your voice? Is it something else?
So even though I'm part of the off choir, I actually have it's interesting, but to kind of, we're talking strictly what I graduated in. I graduated in percussion studies. So I did everything like xylophone, marimba, timpani, snare drum, any percussion that you see in the back of any professional wind band or symphony orchestra. That is what I've done. And yeah, that's my primary instrument. And you are absolutely correct that we'd have to, as music education majors, we've had to learn every single instrument, including ranging to the string family, to the woodwind family, to the brass family. And we even did vocal fundamentals. That was something that was very important. And that was something that was taught to us because sometimes we don't get, us as, in music teachers, sometimes we don't get what we would initially want, which was, for me, I wanted to teach in a band or even an orchestra setting. But sometimes we might not get that. And that's funny because when I went into student teaching, I was teaching the choir. So that was something that was pushed onto me by my mentor teacher at the time. And so it was a very interesting experience just to kind of have that, but it's also a very valuable experience as well. And I think it's, in a way, it's connected to off choir to some degree because like at that point, it's like, oh, this is this. You have to open your mouth more. You have to basically sound like a British person when you're singing and enunciating some. And sometimes you have to have diction, especially when you're speaking, especially like Japanese songs. We've had quite a few of those. So it's important to kind of enunciate and pronunciate the words and have that proper diction to some degree.
How much music is there in OffKai? Because I've still never been. I've only seen clips, but it sounds like it's even besides OffKai Live and everything like that, there's a lot of music going on. Can you just give an overall experience of what that's like?
Ooh, I know. Okay. Off the top of my head, I know there's been off a bunch of concerts, whether it's like a panel, like an hour panel time slot, or you have something as big as OffKai Live, or even this past OffKai, you had Hime Hina do their world tour in the same venue as OffKai Live literally the day before. So I would say music's everywhere. And I know some indie VTubers like Nina Saotome had a concert Sunday morning. So it goes back to my answer of saying music's everywhere. So you're never really without music. And there's so much, beyond the panels and beyond OffKai Live. You can enjoy music from, anywhere at OffKai, whether it's a concert from your favorite Oshis or your concerts hosted by VTuber agencies. So
yeah, it's crazy to think about because I consider OffKai as a still pretty young con. It's 5 or 6 years old, so it's kind of crazy the reach that it has. It feels to be getting bigger and bigger every year. What brings you back every year?
What brings me back, what it sums down to, is the people. As someone who, I think I was pretty fresh into my VTuber career. I was only a PNG tuber at the time. No. I was that, but I also had a custom model that everybody used, like a pay to use kind of thing. I had one of those starting out. And for me, I didn't really know too many people. When I went in during Gen 2, I was like, I only know like 1 or 2 people. And I went with friends who weren't VTubers, but they were in like VTuber communities. And I went during the time. And then as my VTubing career, I'm at like I'm on my 4th or 5th year of streaming now. And I've gotten to know more people, whether it's from my community or whether it's from other people's communities. It's just been honestly a delight. And it's always going to be the people that I always come back to because it's nice. It's the slogan of OffKai Expo is where online friends meet. And it's like a family. I wouldn't say it's like family reunion, but it's definitely one of those things where it's like, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in a year. It's what's up? Hope you're doing well. Seeing them, whether they're on stream or whether they're in your chat or community or whatnot. It's always going to be the people that I always come back to. And it's always nice to see, old friends, people that I talk to online quite often. And it's nice to see them. And it's also nice to see new people, friends who have never been to OffKai, and they're very curious about it, but they have been in the VTubing communities for very long. So it's nice to see them as well.
Oh, I like that. I really want to go one day.
I hope you do. It's honestly really fun, and the energy is unmatched for sure.
Do you have any fun stories from con, either from this year or any year you've gone?
It was pretty busy for me this OffKai just because, being not only an arranger, but also for a vocal guide person. And then recently I was announced as co-director for the OffKai.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Okay, we should have started off with that. Oh my gosh, congrats.
Thank you. I was like, okay.
Wait, hold on.
Wait, it was so funny.
Oh my God.
It's so funny. It's so funny because I literally was looking through like the credits that Evie was writing, and then she put me as co-director, and I'm like, I looked at this.
Huh?
I'm looking at this in shock. I'm like, wait, hold on. It's a lot. I wouldn't say it's like a lot of responsibility. I've just been kind of doing what I do, but it's like another like hat I think I've put on. I want to say that's kind of like a wild story, but
yeah. Oh my God.
to be fair, this was like before a con, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm co-director. That's what I remember.
That is so cool. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where volunteer. I assume you guys are volunteers, but like the volunteers are like the heart of the cons for at least for most cons I've been to. Mm-hmm. So like getting any amount of recognition for your work, because again, you're it's not just the concert. You're putting in so much time before then. You guys have been like working on the guides and also the sheet music and everything way before OffKai even starts. So it's just like you get the recognition you deserve and everything.
Yeah, and definitely everyone who has, whether they are simply participating for the first time with us, or they've arranged for us, or if they sung vocal guides with us, or just a general volunteer, everyone gets the recognition that they deserve, and rightfully so. So,
love to hear the stories from you. I found some crazy stories of con, not of OffKai, just of cons in general on Reddit. I know Reddit stories is pretty popular nowadays, so I wanted to find some of my own. Okay, this one is a cosplay one I found. Do you cosplay at all?
I sort of did. I cosplayed a little of my 1.0 design. Granted, it's like super bare bones, but the idea is still very much there, and I can wear it at any time. So I can wear it every day, and it's not a cosplay.
I love a cozy cosplay or like a closet cosplay. Yeah. It's just so nice.
100%.
All right. This one's a little opposite. This girl went full out, but I will go ahead and start the story right here. So my 25 male girlfriend, who's 24, so this is coming from a man, had a double mastectomy 5 years ago. She had breast cancer and thankfully made a full recovery. Unlike a lot of women, she didn't get any reconstructive surgery. This was before I met her. I'm a big anime nerd, and last weekend I invited her to a small anime con with me. She's seen a few episodes of my favorite shows, but she's not into anime. She does like cosplay, though, and she works seasonally as an SFX artist at a haunted house near us. So when I asked her to go to con with me, she asked if she can cosplay, and I said sure. She got very excited and said I was going to love her costume. So I'll admit, I thought she was going to do something sexy for me.
Oh.
Well, not exactly. The day of the convention comes, and she shows up to my house cosplaying Dabi from My Hero Academia. Do you know who that is?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yes, a very specific look. Specifically a look he has later in the manga. It's a long white coat over white pants, no shirt. Her entire chest was exposed, and she'd obviously spent hours applying burn makeup. She has short hair that she dyes constantly. This time she bleached it white and dyed a few red streaks. I wasn't expecting her to show up without a shirt. Her burn scar makeup only covered half her chest, so you can clearly see her mastectomy scar. It wasn't a very attractive costume, especially since she'd gone all out with the scars and made them look raised and kind of realistic. We went to con, and while a lot of people came up to take pictures with her, I noticed several others looking at her chest. That evening, she said I'd been quiet all day, and I honestly told her I was a little embarrassed that she was flaunting her mastectomy scar like that. She got mad and said she was making the best of her situation and said I was being insensitive, and she's been distant ever since. I'm starting to feel guilty. Am I the asshole?
Ooh. Wow. So first off, major props to the cosplayer who went all out.
Yeah, Davi is no joke.
Oh yeah. I remember reading My Hero and just remembering it's a very intense look. I will say. And honestly, I think about it, it's like, oh, that makes sense. They're SFX artists for like a haunted house. So they're able to replicate the burn scars very easily. It's up to them to decide, right? I think maybe the male partner was a little bit of an asshole because honestly, like the cosplayer, got a vasectomy and they have a scar and they're making, like this person said, were making the most of the situation. And I think that's up for people to kind of decide. And it's not really up to, the other people because you're obviously not the ones affected by it except for the person who has this done. So I think that's just my kind of 2 cents about it.
Yeah, I'd say like if he was coming at this from a point of safety, because obviously, people who've gone to cons, people who've cosplayed, people who've cosplayed with like fully covered outfits still can get harassed.
Yes, I agree.
It's something that people like unfortunately have to be concerned with. So if he was coming at this maybe with like a more like, hey, like, cons are really tight spaces. There's going to be a lot of people. It might not be a safe environment for you to be wearing this. I feel like that could have been a little bit more reasonable. But like when he says like, I was hoping she was going to do something sexy for me, it's kind of like, okay, well, this is
it feels
public stuff.
it feels that to me just feels a little icky. I'm like, that's again, this is not for him to decide. It's like let his like partner cosplay like whatever they want. But yeah, I agree. If they came at this with, I want to make sure that you're okay and you're not being, harassed in any way. Maybe that would have been a better situation, a better way to kind of address that. But to say that they were embarrassed about it, especially people looking at the vasectomy scars, especially if it's on them, that's like, I didn't see a need for him to like point that out to her, right?
That's true. I didn't even think of like the embarrassed part. Like, why are you embarrassed? Like, she's a survivor of cancer. Like,
yeah, and it's like that's such a bad move. I'll say this.
Yeah.
So it's not great. It's leaning towards like you are the asshole, basically.
Yeah. I believe he did get the asshole verdict. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's any updates on this one. I don't think so, especially since people kind of just roasted him online. So hopefully he learned a little bit.
I hope so too.
The next one I found is, I think, a little bit more on the gray side. How familiar are you with like Artist and Artist Alley?
I guess Artist Alley, I've heard a lot of, the process of Artist Alley. So I'm kind of familiar with it.
Okay. Yeah, this story is kind of about that whole process. And Internet Mutual and I had the idea to apply to Artist Alley tables at conventions together because it's easier to take care of a table with two people. If one has to pee, the other can go babysit the artwork. He has experience as a vendor at cons and I do not. So I thought he could be my guide and help me navigate all of that stuff. I also thought that our chances of actually getting a table would be better because he already had that experience. We applied at the end of last year, and by now we have been rejected by every single convention we have applied to, with one exception. One convention didn't allow shared tables, so we applied separately and then planned to ask the con to put our tables next to each other if both of us got accepted. Well, he got a rejection and I was accepted. It's by far the biggest convention we applied to with the most competition for the tables, and it is his dream convention he's always wanted to vend at. The two of us had found 3 more conventions we'd like to try for before I got accepted to the big con. But since I got that acceptance letter, I'm thinking that I might have better chances of getting in if I apply alone. I knew from the get-go that the products he made were of lower quality than mine, but I thought his vending experience would be more important to cons than the quality of his things. Turns out most cons don't even ask if you have prior experience and just look at the products. Why I would be the asshole. Breaking a promise is bad, and he has talked multiple times about how he just isn't good enough and about how sad he is about all the rejections. Oh God, I don't want to add insult to injury. Why I wouldn't be the asshole. It turns out that his vending experience is limited to small conventions. It seems like in most cases he was accepted because all applicants were accepted. I didn't know about this before we decided to share a table. I don't think he intentionally misled me, but I would have made a different decision if I had known. And for him, art is a hobby. For me, it's a job. The stakes are higher for me because my income depends on it. Would I be the asshole if I break the promise I made to apply together and tell him that I want to apply alone?
Definitely. I definitely see kind of that gray area that you kind of prefaced a little bit, and that's an interesting one. Me personally, I don't think this person is an asshole for wanting to apply alone, especially, I think for me, I think the moment that I heard that they have to basically rely on this as an income, I thought, I don't think they're an asshole to try to get it alone. Like, I understand, like, you made a promise to somebody who has more experience vending at an artist alley for a con. But at the same time, I think I think there's some things that might be better to experience kind of on your own and then just kind of learn from there. I think they're fine. I think they're not the asshole for wanting to apply by themselves, especially if it's for a means of income.
Yeah, it is interesting. I do feel like nowadays, thanks to Instagram and YouTube, where like artists are now showing their process of applying to Artist Alley and like how much money they're making, that a lot of people want to also get into this business.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things where it's like getting a booth is really expensive, A,
Mm-hmm.
so I could see why people want to share, but also B, like if you're not making what's trendy, it's going to be hard to sell stuff.
Right.
So I get why conventions are thus like not looking at prior experience, but looking at like what products they're making.
Right.
Because they obviously also want to make sure that the vendors they are accepting are also making sales. Right. And it's one of those tough things where, unfortunately, especially with like the job market and getting a job,
it's hard.
It kind of is like whoever gets there first, like you should just go for it type of deal.
Yeah.
I think he should talk with this mutual. Like I think like if he just straight up ghosts him, that wouldn't be good. Yeah, I would say as long as he words this properly and be like, you know, like, hey, I want to try something different. You know, it's not like the it's not you, it's me conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I think finding a way to communicate that, hey, I basically need this because it's my only source of income. I want to kind of go about this by myself, but I think taking like action, like being like, hey, maybe in the future we share a table together. That'd be really cool. And I get it, and it's really difficult. Yeah, and I do kind of thinking, going back to that point of like tabling at a con is expensive. I think I was looking on, I think Blue Sky or Twitter, someone got applied for the Artist Alley, and the table was quite a bit of money. I think it was over like $500, and I was like, oh my god, that's it's insane. It's like, oh my god. Oh, yeah. Like, and especially if you're like making this as like, if you are tabling for income, it's a little rough to be paying that much.
Right. Especially if you don't know if you're going to make it back.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, because I've definitely heard stories of, you know, people who have been successful and people who might have not been successful in an Artist Alley. I've heard both sides, and I think, you know, at the end of it's kind of steep of a cost to get a table.
Yeah. Okay. Just to wrap this one up, surprisingly, he did get the asshole result, but I was going through the comment section, and it's pretty civil. So I wonder if it's like a slight, you're the asshole. Like people just being like, don't like tell him directly that his art is bad, which he was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Don't be mean.
Yeah, I think that's what like everyone's mostly concerned about. I'll share the links of all these in the video description. So if anyone wants to follow up on the discussion, they're free to. But I do want to get through one last Reddit story before we wrap up this episode here. Mm-hmm. This one's kind of more of the classic am I the asshole Reddit story. So here we go. All here. Right. I, 24 female, have been with my boyfriend, 25 male, for 2 years. When we started dating, he only had 2 in-car sessions left before he could take his driving test. He was also waiting to get a corporate job before getting a credit card. But after finding out I had a credit card and a driver's license, he just stopped trying to get either. Even after getting a good corporate job, he only uses his debit card, occasionally borrowing his mom's credit card or asks to use mine. I say no 90% of the time unless it's urgent. I'm also the only one who drives us to dates or events for the past 2 years. I've brought up how important it is to build credit or get his license, but he always gets defensive and says I'm nagging or being controlling. He insists they're not priorities right now, and he'll get them when he feels it's time. Last month, Comic-Con took place in our city. We talked about going because an actor we love was attending. I bought my pass early because he still wasn't 100% sure about going. A few days before the event, while I was out of town, he texted me asking to use my credit card to buy his pass. I was so done at this point, I told him no, then put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Later that night, I saw that he spammed my phone, saying it was the last day to buy online, and now he'd have to get in line at the venue. I reminded him again that this could have been avoided if he had his own credit card. He didn't say anything after. On the day of the con, there were way more people than expected. He waited in line for 2 hours but gave up and called me while I was buying merch so we could at least have lunch and say goodbye. After lunch, I dropped him at the subway and went back to enjoy the con with friends. I called him when I got home to ask about his day. When he asked about mine, I told him about the con. He asked, "Wait, you still went?" I said, "Of course, I bought a pass." He then blew up saying it was my fault he didn't go, that I was selfish for not lending him my card, and if I really loved him, I would have ditched the con to be with him or at least driven him home. I told him he was being stupid AF and I deserved to go since I paid. He hung up. We spoke the next morning and apologized to each other, but a month later, he still occasionally brings up how upset he was that day. Part of me wonders if I could have avoided the drama by just letting him use my card. But another part is just so done. Am I the asshole for not letting him use my card?
No. Right off the bat, no. Like, okay. If that, everything that he did, everything that he said to her just felt really icky. I don't know if you felt that.
Yeah.
I was just like, if you loved me, you let me use my credit card. I'm like, bro, wait, and remind me again, how old are they? The couple, female and male?
He's 25, she's 24.
Bro, you're 25. Get your own credit card. Like,
yeah. That's my biggest confusion. Is just like, well, I hate how, now in America, you have to have credit to like get Wi-Fi or to like buy rent an apartment or anything like that for whatever reason. But like, because that's the way we live, I'm just like, bruh, you need a credit card. Like, why? You could have open, like, there's lots of good free ones out there too. You could have started like, use a free one, buy your pass early on. Like, you could have avoided all of this. Instead, he's like manipulating her, like give him her credit card. And it's just like, why?
It's so, yeah, it's so gross. I'm like, bro, it's like, granted, I didn't get my first credit card until maybe I was maybe his age, maybe even younger. And it was actually relatively easy because it was through the same bank that I had my debit card in. And I had to get the debit card when I entered college. So when I turned 18. So I was like, it's so weird to me that you are relying on your partner to pay for everything when you won't even like go out of your way to get the thing. Because I rarely use my credit card. I only use my debit card, to be fair. And that's only because my credit score will go down if I don't pay it off. And that's another thing. It's like, oh, if he got his own credit card, he'd understand like credit scores and everything. And it'd be like a little thing of karma, but that's just me. But no, like I try to avoid it because like it's such a hassle to pay off over time, and it's I feel for her. It's like trying to pay for everything with a credit card. It's like, that's I don't even want to like think about that. I don't even want to think about using my credit card, period. Like if you are more comfortable using a credit card, like go for it. I am not strong enough to do so. So
no, honestly, that's fair because he also, he does have a debit card and I guess he doesn't have enough money on his debit card to buy a Comic-Con pass. And if that's the case, my guy, you shouldn't be going to con. You should be doing something else.
And he did, and it was stated that he has like a corporate job, right? And I don't know what the pay is like. So I'm at that point just open up a credit card, open up a savings account.
Yeah,
like
there's so many things.
I'm making wild gestures, and I wish I had like tracking for that because it's insane. It's insane. It's like, why? but to kind of the verdict's like, no, this girl's not an asshole. She's putting her foot down. She's putting her boundaries. And the fact that he keeps like kind of guilt tripping her is like, girl, just leave him.
Yeah.
Girl, leave him.
Like, I'm sorry, you don't get to have fun, so she doesn't get to have fun either. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, it's gross. Like, man, eek. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just my...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean by classic Reddit story here.
Yeah. They're always fun to listen to. And it's just like...
They are. But it's just like, my blood is boiling too.
I know.
All right. That was a fun... she obviously got not the asshole. I think there was actually an edit as well. Update in case anyone sees this. I broke up with him recently. It's been really awkward between our social circles, but it is what it is. Thanks everyone for your comments, support, helping me open up my eyes and even the harsh words. I talked about it with some friends and they said the same as most comments on here. I'm a little embarrassed it took me this long to end it, but love is a funny thing, LOL.
Good for her. Good for her. And I'm glad that her friends and the comments were saying like the exact same thing. Because yeah, I would have been like, dump him. Such an ass.
Honestly, but we've talked a lot about OffKai, about other con stories. I feel like last year there was a huge con drama, which was TwitchCon. It's another popular, famous VTuber con out there, and it made headlines. Guests were assaulted. Like gifts from fans were lost, meet and greets were cut short. It was just all these things that was like, what the heck is going on at TwitchCon, a con that is like owned by Amazon? It should be like much better than this. Do you feel it's crazy that was just last year, but like, do you feel like con culture has changed at all in both a good or a bad way? Is there like something that like people should know ahead of time before going to cons? I'm curious to know your thoughts.
Whether con culture has changed. For me, I really haven't had to... I've kind of just been in my own lane when it comes to going to cons. So for me, it's like, I don't really notice it, but I do see the stories, on social media. So it really depends. And then also, I think it depends on con too, right? You have something as big as TwitchCon, which is a vastly different vibe to it in comparison to, say, OffKai. Whether it has changed, I think it varies from con to con. It's going to be different per con because, you have like the small volunteer, made with love, something like OffKai, something more recent. Then you have something like TwitchCon that's a little bit more like industry. I think there's a difference to be had between kind of those two. So whether con culture has changed, I don't know. I haven't fully observed that. And then something that both guests and attendees should be aware of when planning to go to events, I think just having common sense in general, especially in a place like OffKai, a VTuber convention. One thing that I've definitely learned was to post after the fact, rather than, posting live, unless you want that. And that's totally fine. But if you care about like safety, then you post it like a day, all the pictures that you've done like a day after. And then it's just a general like safety thing. So it can really kind of just depends. Obviously, just be aware. Report to like the safety con team, all of that. But otherwise, your con experience should be just fine as long as you follow like common sense things.
That's fair. And also a very good note, because I feel like with social media nowadays, I feel like that is common sense, but some people, love to post and then it's just like, oh, now people know where I am. So that is honestly a fair point that I haven't thought about in a long time as well. But thank you for joining me today. I know we've talked a lot about cons, and OffKai sounds amazing. Congratulations on your promotion as well. I'm so excited for next year already, even though I know OffKai just happened.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any upcoming projects on your mind right now that you finished OffKai?
I definitely want to start, thinking about doing a 3.0 design. but that goes
Ooh.
kind of with time and whatnot. But I do have I have like a mood board, and I also want to kind of switch a little bit to a little bit more of a full-time content creation, solely because of personal work things. And that's something I kind of always wanted to do. I always wanted to do cooking streams. Hence
Ooh.
the name. But yeah, I want to do more of that. And so it's just a matter of time and getting the equipment for it as such.
Awesome. That sounds exciting. I can't wait to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for joining me today. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Uploaded, and thank you to Karina BBQ for joining us today on this episode. If you liked our conversation, don't forget to like and subscribe and tell me a silly con experience. Bye!